Married men of Reddit, what was the dumb thing you did during your dating phase that you can't believe your wife ended up overlooking? Turned her down when she suggested we go on a date. Read as, I'm super awkward. I was working for Starbucks, she was a regular customer. I was new in town and noticed her a couple times, she was a regular customer and we got to some small talk, chatting about places to eat. She said there's an amazing taco place down the road, we should go sometime. I misheard her, thinking she said you should go sometime. I replied with I'll definitely check it out. I handed her a drink and she left very awkwardly. She was back in the next day and, against all odds, I was able to clear up the misunderstanding and I wrote my number on her Starbucks cup. Went to that taco place for our first date and she was right, it was amazing. 3 years married and 2 kids later. Really glad she saw through my awkwardness. I forgot her name once when introducing her to a friend. This was maybe a month into our relationship. I was all like, hey, and by the way, this is my girlfriend. Not my story, but my parents. Some backstory: my dad has a brother who's only a couple years older. Growing up, they'd commonly try to steal food off each other's plates just to be assholes to each other. This was remedied by plate guarding and defensive maneuvers with utensils if hands got too close. On my parents' first date, my mom reached for something to try off my dad's plate and he instinctively stabbed her hand with his fork. Drew blood and everything. He was obviously mortified. Glad my mom was crazy enough to keep dating, marry, and procreate with the fork stabber. Played Weird Al CDs non-stop for a 6-hour car trip to the beach. She didn't ditch me but haven't been allowed to play Weird Al in her presence for the past 24 years. Got tickets to see him this year on our anniversary and knew better than to ask her to join me, so I took a couple of my kids that appreciate the finer things in life. Best anniversary gift ever. Great show. On my first date with my wife, we got to talking about tattoos. I have a rule that if I have an idea for a tattoo, I sit on it for a while to see if I really would still want it. I mentioned this to her and explain how glad I am that I do this because otherwise I'd be covered in Tool, the band, tattoos or some other dumb shit. She rolled up her sleeve to show me that she had the lyrics to one of their songs tattooed across her arm. The lyrics are all this pain is an illusion from Parabola. For the record, I don't really hate Tool. I just used to be super into them in high school and have since grown out of them. I still put them on once in a while. Edit 2, my oldest brother unironically has a Creed tattoo on his leg. There's always somebody out there who has it worse than you. On our second date, I arrived 1 hour late. When I went to greet her with a little hug, yep, that's how we greet people around here, I accidentally knocked her phone off her hand. It hit the ground and cracked the screen, but I wasn't sure if it was already cracked. Apologized. She said it was okay and that the screen was already like that before. Almost a year later she confessed that I actually broke her phone that day. She had just gotten it from her mom. All phones she ever had were second-hand, very simple ones, and she couldn't afford a new one at the time, but still she lied and kept using the broken phone so I wouldn't feel bad. My heart sank. We've been married for 2 years now and I've given her a brand new flagship phone every year ever since. My husband broke my thumb one night when we were slightly tipsy. Horseplay got too rough and I think, drunk memory, he slammed my hand against something. We both heard the pop and I went to tears. Holy shit. That must have been one hell of an awkward night. My husband kept calling me by the name of his previous girlfriend on our first date. I finally told him to give her a call because they clearly had unfinished business to talk about. He did and she reminded him why he was happy to have her out of his life. And he never called me by her name again. 40 years later and it seems to have worked out in my favor. Not the married man but on probably our 3rd or 4th date, my man mixed our soups. I got a watermelon gazpacho, a cold soup, and he got a seafood bisque. I'm a sharer so we both tasted and didn't love mine but we loved his. After the tasting, he boldly yet nervously states mine is so great, I got this while pouring our 2 soups into one. It was the worst lukewarm thing I've ever tasted. 5 years later and we've never mixed soups again. Too risky. This would make me believe my date was some sort of psychopath. There's no reason that even 2 good soups of similar theme should be mixed. It defeats the entire fucking purpose of ordering a specific soup. We had a couple great dates and things were looking promising. Then I got super busy at work and didn't contact her for about 3.5 weeks without giving her a heads up. She decided to move during this time. After things calmed down at work, I text her again. We worked things long distance and finally got married. She reminds me that I didn't ask her out again for a very long time, every few months. I get very nervous around women that are into me, and especially when I know she's watching me do something, even something trivial. On an early date, we went to the local shop to pick up some things for a picnic, including some gum. I was thinking really hard and aware that I was being watched. I had this: money on the counter, gum in your mouth. Money on the counter, gum in your mouth. Easy. Suffice to say, when I put the gum on the counter and the €2 coin in my mouth, the cashier was baffled and my girlfriend, now wife, was crying with laughter. Accidentally set her hair on fire with a match while lighting a cigarette. Not good. We are still married 29 years later. I don't smoke anymore. Wife was a devout animal lover and activist. Planned proposal at a fancy Tokyo restaurant that only takes 3 tables a night and has 11 courses, which was filled with all sorts of innovative things, so you're never quite sure what's coming next. In between one of the courses, the chef brings out a cute little glass bowl for us to play with some squid. The chef informs us these are firefly squid that's local to the bay. My wife is delighted and practically named them. 2 courses later they reappeared as entrees, floating on a glass plate lit up from below and arranged to look like they're swimming. She still said yes, but have never let me forgot that I took her on literally the worst dining experience she had, and I had paid the most ever for. I didn't really do it, but I thought he would be weirded out anyways. Very first time he stayed at my house, after about 3 hours of my 2 male roommates trying to make him uncomfortable, we went to bed and he put his contacts in 2 shot glasses of water because he had no case with him. I don't know if that's a dumb thing to do. I've never worn them. Maybe we were drinking and that seemed like a good idea. Anyways, he had never had a pet and was kind of weirded out by my cat standing beside him and meowing at him all night. Is that normal? Is he mad at me or something? Woke up the next day to find out the cat drank all the water from the shot glasses, contacts included. I had to help him home because he is seriously blind without them. He still wanted to see me again even though the night was weird, and the cat became his best friend, despite some initial skepticism on both their parts. Edit: I just asked him why we put his contacts in water and he said it was contact solution from one of my roommates who had contacts but no spare case for him to borrow, so we used the shot glasses. Makes so much more sense. Chucky was fine after drinking the solution, though we did call the vet. Totally forgot that part. Well, it was 17 years ago. I was sitting on the couch as we were playing Wii bowling. She was standing behind the couch, lovingly holding me. I draw back the Wiimote and wham! I whack her in the face with the Wiimote at full strength. Her mom was also in the room. Soon as I saw playing Wii, I knew. We drank a lot on our second date, Ubered home. Next day went back to get his car, and it wasn't there. He was so devastated. He just bought it recently and it was stolen. We filed a police report. Took forever and just generally sucked. We walked to his friend's house nearby, and there was his car, perfectly unstolen. He drank so much he forgot he moved it before our date. Now, once in a while when we're trying to find our car in the grocery store parking lot or wherever, one of us will say it's stolen. Call the police. Insisted that everything in San Francisco was walking distance from everything else, and decided we should walk from Pier 39 to Golden Gate Park. It is walkable, but not third date walkable, or whatever shoes she happened to be wearing that day walkable. As someone unfamiliar with San Francisco, Googled it. 5 miles apart, a 2-hour walk according to Google, and by the looks of it, a shit ton of hills. Google is giving me a warning I've never seen before, that walking directions may not reflect real-world conditions, and it looks like the elevation changes back and forth a couple hundred feet more than once. Wife here, but about 3 weeks into dating, my husband invited me to a house party at his best friend's place. We were playing beer pong, having fun. The other team is up, They toss the ball, I lean forward to try to block it. My now husband extends his hand out in front of me at the same time, catching the ball but at the same time hitting me in the eye and somehow pulling out 3/4 of my eyelashes. He felt terrible about it and tried to burn off his eyelashes in drunken sympathy. He hates when I bring it up, but I think it is the funniest story. Wife here. About 3 weeks into dating, my husband thought it would be romantic to pick me up and spin me around in his driveway. Unfortunately, it was not his most brilliant idea and he tripped and we fell right onto the concrete next to my car. Reader, he landed on top of me. You cushioned his fall, how sweet of you. Soon-to-be wife here. When we first met, it was during an introduction class or something like that. He kept kissing the teacher's ass and talking way too much and just being kinda of a show-off. I wanted to punch him in the face. Come to find out he's in almost all my classes, and for lunch a couple of girls and I decided to go to McDonald's. He invited himself. I was annoyed. 2 months into our relationship he confessed that he saw me and was intrigued and wanted to get to know me, so he did everything to get my attention. He's an extrovert, I'm an introvert. I'm surprised he managed to actually get my attention. We've been together for 10 years, getting married on September 23rd. We were taking a shower together and she was soaping up while I was under the hot water rinsing off, and she slipped and instead of grabbing/helping her I pulled away, thinking for some reason that I'd already rinsed off and didn't want to get soapy. Thank God she caught herself on the shower curtain and didn't get hurt. She was, not happy. My explanation of my faulty thinking didn't help at all, either. I laugh about it now, but it took some serious smoothing over at the time. Oh yay, it's not like you are in the shower and can't just rinse again. She was about to sneeze and she was sitting half on my lap, so I kinda thought she was gonna sneeze on me and I'd what I was thinking, but I put my hand up to block her sneeze, except I had a glass in my hand and I blocked her own hand from covering her sneeze, and instead she slammed her face into my glass. Married 6 years now. She still has all her teeth. I made myself a burger for dinner before heading over to her place to hang out. Unfortunately, I'm not the best cook and left a little too much pink in that burger. While we were at her house I bet her I could fit through the doggy door and crawled right through. Then she immediately closed it behind me and we raced to the front door. She won and she locked it. Now at this exact moment my bowels decided they had enough of that burger from earlier and I felt my stomach cramp. Luckily I held it all in and ran back to the back door with my cheeks clenched and starting knocking desperately in the door. She was laughing at first, but when she saw my face go suddenly serious and I said very calmly, I need you to open the door now please. She unlocked the door and asked if I was okay. I told her to stay downstairs and turn the TV up loud. She agreed but was very confused. So I ran upstairs and then had one of the most violent shits of my whole life. I thought the worst was behind me until I went to wipe, and of course no TP. So she took my instructions really well, and when I yelled to her, texted her, and called her I got no answer. After probably like 10 missed calls she finally answered and I asked her to bring me some TP and leave outside the door and try not to breathe on the way upstairs. She was great about it and immediately started making fun of me when I came back downstairs. Now quite a few years later, a couple kids and cat, she's still making fun of me. Man, I was so expecting this story to end with you getting stuck in the doggy door and shitting your pants.